Honours, Mr Duterte is an indirect co-perpetrator of the alleged crimes because first, he agreed to a common plan to neutralize alleged criminals. Second, he and his fellow co-perpetrators jointly controlled a structure of power, namely the Davao Death Squad and the National Network, which they used to pursue the common plan. Third, Mr Duterte made an essential contribution to the crimes within the framework of the common plan. And fourth, he did this with the requisite intent. Your Honours can see on your screens an excerpt from paragraph 4 of our document containing the charges. This sets out the scope of the common plan. The plan was to neutralise alleged criminals in the Philippines, including those perceived or alleged to be associated with drug use, sale or production through violent crimes, including murder. As Mr Nichols has explained, Mr Duterte and his co-perpetrators agreed to this plan in Davao City. Photos of the co-perpetrators in Davao City are displayed on your screens. They're a combination of trusted police officers, an individual from Mr Duterte's mayoral office, an officer from the National Bureau of Investigation in Davao region, and a lawyer who acted on behalf of certain members of the Davao Death Squad. In 2016, when Mr Duterte became president, the members of the common plan remained largely the same. They were joined by a further two individuals, a senior police officer and a long-time colleague of the group from Davao City, who had worked with the DDS before the jurisdictional period. I will take your honours through some of the evidence which shows both the scope of the common plan and the co-perpetrators' agreement to it. In the interest of time, I will address some co-perpetrators and we rely on our brief for the rest. That's at paragraphs 9 to 23 of our brief. On your screens is a photograph of Mr Ronald De La Rosa. When Mr De La Rosa was Davao City Police Chief, he developed Tokhang operations. As your honours have heard from Mr Jeremy, Tokhang was a blueprint for police to implement killings later in the presidential period. When he was announced as Mr Duterte's chosen PMP chief in May 2016, Mr De La Rosa gave this interview, which is at tab 101. It shows that he wholeheartedly agreed to the common plan.
Patayan sa drugs. Patayan talaga ito sa drugs. Kaya kayong mga drug lord dyan, humanda na kayo at talagang sasagasaan ko kayo.
On this slide is a photo of Isidro Lapena. Like Mr De La Rosa, Mr Lapena was well known to Mr Duterte because he too had worked as Davao City Police Chief. In his case, from 1996 until 1998. In 2016, Mr Duterte appointed Mr Lapena as Director General of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA. PDEA is the lead anti-drug enforcement agency in the Philippines. 2 days after Mr Lapena took his oath, he gave a speech to his PDEA subordinates. There is an excerpt from that speech on the slide. Quote, "Under then Mayor, we implemented strict law enforcement against illegal drug activities in Davao City. The President wants to replicate and expand what is being done in Davao. And that is precisely what I intend to do." End quote. That's tab 101. Also like Mr De La Rosa, Vicente Danao was Davao City Police Chief during the mayoral period, in his case from 2013 to 2016. In November 2018, he was appointed Police Chief of Manila Police District, and he told reporters, quote, "If I discover anyone involved in drugs, especially those who distribute or just throw them around. Son of a bitch, I will go after you, goddamn. I will kill you. Blatantly, I am saying that. Sons of bitches, end quote. That's tab 96. When Mr. Duterte became president, he appointed Vitaliano Aguirre II as Secretary of Justice. Mr. Aguirre has also publicly acknowledged the common plan and his agreement to it as a member of Mr. Duterte's administration.
Well, which do you want? We build first we build the prison facilities first, or do we go against these people? Choose. If you're in the Philippines, we will choose to kill these drug lords.
Quote, in the Philippines, we will choose to kill these drug lords, end quote. That's tab 125. Your Honours, these speeches of co-perpetrators show both the scope of the common plan and those co-perpetrators' agreement to it. Your Honours, the next element of indirect co-perpetration is control of a structure of power. In the mayoral period, Mr. Duterte and his co-perpetrators controlled the DDS, which they used to pursue the common plan. There is a diagram of the DDS hierarchy on your screens. As the mayor of Davao City, Mr. Duterte sat at the apex of the formal and city structures. The law gave him formal operational, supervision and control over the police in Davao City. In addition to this de jure power, insider witnesses spoke about his de facto power over police and the DDS structure. Under Mr. Duterte were a combination of co-perpetrators from the Davao City Police Office and the Mayor's Office. Together with Mr. Duterte, they controlled the DDS teams beneath them. They controlled the will of the DDS perpetrators through a range of mechanisms. And these are set out in paragraph 38 of our brief and include threats to kill and actual killing. To illustrate this control, there are quotes from one witness on your screen. This witness said that when he was first told to kill, he did not want to. But, I quote, I felt like I didn't have any other choice but to follow their orders. Duterte is the most powerful person in Davao City, and you had to do what he wanted. It wasn't possible not to not obey his command. End quote. This is tab 51. When Mr. Duterte became president, the co-perpetrators continued to control a structure of power. One of the first things that Mr. Duterte did with his new presidential powers was to appoint his co-perpetrators from Davao to national positions in government and law enforcement, which were key to the common plan. And after he appointed Mr. De La Rosa as chief of the PMP, Mr. De La Rosa used his new powers to move other police co-perpetrators into key policing roles. These new appointments expanded the geographic powers of the co-perpetrators and allowed them to create a larger network of individuals they controlled. Your Honours can see that structure of power on the chart on your screens. The co-perpetrators controlled the executive, they controlled the police, they controlled the Drug Enforcement Agency, the National Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Justice. And they used this control to ensure that their subordinates carried out the plan to neutralize alleged criminals through violent crimes. For example, as PMP chief, Mr. De La Rosa now controlled some 180,000 police officers, who, as you have heard, he directed to neutralize drug personalities. Mr. La Peña now controlled 1,800 Philippine drug enforcement personnel. They used these subordinates as physical perpetrators to commit the crimes. Mr. Aguirre, as Secretary of Justice, now had control of the National Prosecution Service. He used this control to ensure that, except for a handful of low-level perpetrators in notorious cases, the crimes were not prosecuted, and a climate of impunity prevailed. And the co-perpetrators controlled the will of the physical perpetrators. As in Davao City, low-level members of the national network risked losing their jobs or being killed if they did not comply. For example, Your Honours can see the evidence of a police insider on your screens. He said that if his boss did not kill enough people during police operations, he would lose his post and be replaced. I quote, "We were told that there should be 5 to 10 deaths per month. The regional director called him and told him that if there were no deaths or no recorded killings, then he would be relieved of his duty." End quote. That's tab 124. Now on your screens is the evidence of an individual who police suspected of involvement in drugs. He surrendered to police to avoid being killed. The police held his status as an alleged drug pusher against him and recruited him as an asset. They made him kill other civilians who were alleged to be involved with drugs. He said, quote, "I surrendered myself to them. I knew that they wanted to kill me, so I became an asset of theirs." End quote. That's at tab 22.